Hey there, in the last tutorial we looked at making this lovely little bouncing ball, but truth be told we can do it another way. So what I'm going to do is go and create a new scene, and I won't save this. Okay, so here we have our new scene. We're going to come in here and create a ball. We're going to put it back in origin. We're going to give it a radius of 1. We're going to call it our amazingly thoughtful name of ball, and we're going to turn on the smooth shaded mode. Now, in the past I needed to keep things clean and dropping it exactly on the grid, but I'm just going to pull it up in the air because we don't need to worry about that so much in this. But what I am going to do is go and delete the history. Now this is going to become increasingly more important. It's still not going to make a huge difference in this tutorial, but once you start working with dynamics, then having clean objects is always very handy. So what I'm doing is I'm just creating a plane, which is just this button up here, and just drag across the grid, and we'll put that back at 0, and we'll go ahead and delete the history, and we'll call this floor. Okay, so we have our ball, we have our floor. Now we need to start setting up the dynamics. So we'll come across to this dynamics tab here, click on our ball, and hit this active rigid body. So that will turn the ball into an active rigid body, and instead of creating keyframes like we were doing before, it will actually set up these dynamic driven keys here. But now if we play that, we notice that nothing happens at all. I'm going to give us a couple of extra frames. We'll go to frame 100, and just to prove that it's still doing absolutely nothing in the scene, which seems like a bit of a waste of time. So we're going to fix that. We're going to, with the ball selected, we're going to come over here and create gravity. So now that we have gravity, the ball will fall, but it falls straight through the floor, which is less than ideal. So we're going to go ahead and fix that now. So by clicking the ball, shift, and click the plane, you come along to the passive rigid body and just click that. And now the floor is actually going to interact with the ball. So if we rewind that, don't worry about this, it'll come up when you rewind. It just means that there's been a skip in calculations, and hit play. You'll see that the ball actually bounces on the plane, which, I mean, why did we spend all this time animating, I guess? But if you look at it now, it's looking kind of slow and a little bit boring. So if we come along and click our, we need to select click to get to our gravity, which is sitting directly on the plane, and you'll notice that the magnitude is set at 9.8, which actually seems kind of relevant, seeing as gravity affects objects at 9.8 seconds per second, but unfortunately that doesn't give us a very good result. So we're going to go ahead and put in 100, because if you put in 100 to anything, it just makes it work. And there we have a much nicer sort of playback for our ball. And if you notice, we've got a bit of a skipping action going on there, which is due to our playback speed. So if we go to playback speed and we go play every frame max real time. Now because we're working in dynamics, we want to be seeing every single frame. And that is the basic dynamic system for creating a bouncing ball. The only problem with this is that we can't really change it very well. It's harder to get in the squash and stretch. You'll need to start working with end cloth and other things like that to create like a nice bouncing squashing action of the ball. So really, when it comes to actually animating the ball, you can get much nicer results by animating it by hand, but the physics and dynamics is actually very useful for doing things that you don't want to be spending the time on.